Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to Crochet Objet Knitting. If you're new here, my name is Moran. I'm coming to you from Israel, from my studio in Ramat Gan, a city in the center of Israel. Today is Thursday and it's quite cold here, windy and rainy in the last few days, and so I'm very excited to wear a few of my woolly knits, which we will speak about later in this episode. Yeah, this is the place where I speak about knitting and crochet and a little bit about my deep true love for homemaking and sourdough baking. Thank you for visiting me here. Today I'm here to speak about some creative things from the week, and I have a test knit, a call for a test knit for a new pattern I'm about to release. I have some works in progress to share and some finished objects. And I have my cup of coffee with me in my new mug. This is a new mug I purchased on my last visit to IKEA, and I hope you also have a cup of something warm to drink, a cup of coffee or a cup of tea to join me in this episode. So we can start speak about some knitting and crochet. And I had a very busy week. On Sunday I started my working week with some packing. I was packing your Etsy orders and I recorded myself to share it with you here today. If you like to see some behind the scenes of an Etsy shop owner, you can stay with me till the end of the video where I will share some packing footage with you, and you will see your colorful cotton kits and yarn packs being packed. So this will be shared at the end of this video. And after packing on Sunday, I went to meet my aunts and a few other members in my family. We planned to go together and visit my mom's grave, and I managed to make a beautiful little sage flower bouquet from our balcony garden and to take with me to my mom's grave. We have a very special sage growing in our balcony garden. In Hebrew we call it a medical sage or something like that, and it has a deep purple flowers and it blooms now. So I will share more footage of these sage flowers at the end of this video as well. And so this was Sunday. On Monday I hosted the Monday Club here, so the Monday knitting and crochet group, and it was lovely as always. We had a lot of knitting and crochet projects, and I was running around the table teaching and explaining some special stitches according to whatever projects running around the table. We had some good coffee and herb tea with herbs from my garden, and I always make sure we have some healthy snacks for the meeting. Monday Girls run with me for years, and it's a very special knitting group. This was on Monday. On Tuesday I was hosted in a morning TV show. It was very exciting. One of the ladies on Monday, she hosts a morning show, a morning TV show, and she invited me to speak about knitting and crochet. In Hebrew, knitting and crochet has one word. We say sriga for both of them. So she invited me to speak about sriga. I took some of my blankets and I took Chunky Benji with me to show, and two Angie bunnies, and we also showed this hand knitted socks basket. It usually sits here in the studio for some inspiration for the knitters here and the local customers. And yeah, it was very short and sweet, and it was a nice experience. I was a little bit nervous before that, but Eden, the name of the TV host is Eden Harel. She was making it very cozy and very casual, and she's really a special talent. She's a very busy woman, but whenever she has a free Monday morning, she comes. For years, she comes to our Mondays club. She's part of our Mondays club. So yeah, this was on Tuesday. And then on Tuesday evening, we had the Knit Night group here, which is also a bunch of such lovely ladies. So we had the talk of the Knit Night was this experience of mine with a TV show, and you know, it was the talk of the Knit Night, and it was the talk of the day, and then the talk of the next day, and it will take a few more days till it will come down. And yeah, Wednesday was quite stormy here in the area. We had really, I think, a full day of rain. We had quite a stormy day. Originally, I planned to record this episode on Wednesday, but because it was so stormy and so noisy, the rain was really heavy on the roof of my studio, and my studio is more of a light construction building, so I did try to record, but it was really impossible. So I made a few takes and then decided to make something different in this day and to leave recording for today. So I made some admin stuff and packed some other Etsy orders. And yeah, today is Thursday, and I'm here recording this episode with you. Yeah, and I wear a few of my knits. Today I wear my new Master Brew hat. I think from the moment it went out of the blocking mat and was ready to use, I wear it, I think, every day, indoors and outdoors. I really like it and enjoy it. I really like the yarn I was choosing and the color. I think it goes good with my skin tone, and in general, I like the way it looks. It helps me manage my crazy hair on some crazy hair days. And yeah, I wanted to update you that eventually I used a little bit more than one skein of this yarn. I think on my last episode I showed you I used the Johnson by Sager for this hat. I made the adult medium size, and I wanted it to be a little bit longer because I was planning to have this part a little bit bigger than what the pattern was instructing. So I used one skein of this yarn and a little bit more from the other skein I had. The hat is actually made out of 115 grams. So one skein has 100 grams and 250 meters, and I used a little bit from the other skein. So just to update you on how much wool I used for this set. This is a very simple pattern to follow. It's a very friendly one and very detailed. You can use any yarn you like, and according to the gauge you achieve, the pattern instructs you how many stitches you should have on your needle and how long to knit before you shape the crown. Yeah, it's the Master Brew hat by Isolda. Next, yeah, Next, I'm wearing my Sophie shawl. This is the Sophie shawl by Petite Knit. I wear it almost every day. Actually, I wear it the first thing when I wake up in the morning, when it's a little bit colder in the morning. So I put it on and I'm ready for the day. Like, I'm ready for my first coffee and my morning knitting session. I shared all the yarn information I used on my previous episode. I really like the way it feels against the skin. A lot of the ladies here are making this shawl using the same yarn as I used, and so I'm wearing it today and I enjoy it almost every day. And the third knit that I wanted to show you is I'm wearing my new ribbed socks, and I enjoy wearing them and having them on my feet today. Actually, they are on my feet from the moment I woke up today because it was really cold here. These are made out of a sport weight yarn. I think I shared this yarn on my last episode as well, but this is the Tweed by Regia. It's a 6-ply wool, and not sure what is the name of the color. But this is a 150 grams ball with 375 meters long. I knitted them not too long. They are not shorties kind of socks, but they are not long socks, so I used about half of the ball, so I have left about 70 grams. And as I shared on my last episode, I usually split the yarn. When I knit socks, I split the ball into 2 balls, and I work parallel on 2 socks. So not 2 at a time, but I work on 2 different needles, but I work parallel on each sock. So I have about 70 grams left here, and I just cast on another pair of 2x2 ribbed socks, and I think I will make these for my sister. I just really enjoy these sport weight kind of socks, and I think she will enjoy it as well. This time I will take more detailed notes on everything I make on this pattern, just in case I want to make it a written pattern in the future. So another new pair of socks on the needles. I plan to cast on another pair of stripy socks, this time with this combination of colors. I'm not sure if I will use all of them, but maybe just a few of them. We shall see how it works. Next, I think, is my granny square crochet blanket. So till yesterday morning, my granny squares lived in this Nina bag. This Nina bag is a pattern available in my Etsy shop. I will link it down below for you, but it was too small. My granny square blanket started to grow, and I moved it to live in my buco bag. I have this buco bag for years, and I usually use it for bigger projects, usually for blankets. So this time the crochet granny square blanket lives here, and I hope you can see it. I really love it. I have it for years, and I love everything buco. And I think I made 20 or 21 squares. I crochet a really simple plain granny square, 6 rounds granny square. I can share my granny square tutorials with you if you like. Just leave me a comment down below in the comment section if you would like to see the way I crochet them, but I just crochet a basic simple 1 color granny square, and I just got my order from the Knitting for Olive. I use the Knitting for Olive heavy merino for this project in color Sky Cloud. This is 100% merino, 125 meters and 50 grams in each ball. Each ball makes 4 squares of 6 rounds. So, and this is what is left after 4 squares. So I might use some of these for the joining part, and I will also use them to make granny squares, you know, with some joining points in the middle. Yeah, so I now have in the bag, I think 8 more balls, and I'm not sure yet about the size that I will make this blanket, but I think I will decide as I go. So now I just crochet the squares and making some progress with my squares, and yeah, plan to have you know, like a family blanket that always sits in the living room, on the sofa or next to the sofa. I want it to be available for my family. At the end of the day, most of my blankets, crochet and knitted blankets, sit here in my studio here and behind me in the basket for some inspiration for my local knitters and local customers. And yeah, from time to time you can see one of the boys are coming here, or my girl, they will come here and take a blanket to their room or to the living room to get snuggled with, but usually they all sit here. So I plan on a simple, plain granny square blanket, one color, to be available for my family in the living room. So let's see how it works. Yeah, so this is where I am with this project, and usually it sits under my knitting nook in the living room, so I can grab the yarn and hook and, you know, make a granny square whenever I have the time. It's very simple. So every morning in my morning knitting session I will make at least one or maybe more granny squares. I use a 4mm crochet hook for this project. Yeah, this wool is very soft and feels nice against the skin, and all my family members approved it, said it feels good. It has a nice touch. Okay, so this is about this project. Yeah. I think next is a new pattern. So I think it was Monday I finished writing down a new sock pattern. I work on this socks pattern for the last, I think, few weeks. This development took me quite a while, and I made a few different trials, and I think I knitted a few socks or part of socks to decide on the combination and on the length. This pattern is now ready and it's written. It's shorties. It's a top-down pattern, and it's a combination of an eyelet and a little bit of a cable stitch and a little bit of double crochet bubbles. So this pattern is also using crochet stitches, or just one stitch, the double crochet stitch. These socks were knitted with the superwash sock wool, fingering sock wool. I used this 4-ply superwash. I think it's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. 4-ply fingering by the Eden Cottage yarn. I'm not sure about what type of yarn and what is the name of the color, because this wool was winded and was sitting here in my studio for quite a while, and I think somehow I lost the label of the yarn, but it was something I purchased a while ago from Eden Cottage Yarn. So this pattern is now written and ready to be tested. So if you are interested to test knit my new sock pattern, please just contact me. I will leave my email address down here on the screen for you. You can send me an email and let me know you want to test knit this pattern. And for these shorties, I used only 60 grams from the yarn. The yarn had 100 grams, and I used, I think, about 30 grams for each sock. So 60 out of 100 grams were used for these shorties. Yeah, so this is for the test knit for my new socks pattern. So the last thing I wanted to share with you is actually a finished project. It's not a new one, but I wanted to share it with you. Usually it sits here on this cabinet, and this is another chunky Benji that I wanted to show you and maybe inspire you to make this pattern using different yarns. I followed my chunky Benji pattern. I will link this pattern down below for you, but I didn't make the legs because I just wanted it to be sitting here on this cabinet. So I just skipped the legs, the making holes for the legs round in the pattern, and I didn't make the holes and didn't make the legs. So you will just have to skip this round and just continue following the pattern without making the legs. And I made it out of an alpaca wool I have here in my studio. This is DK light worsted alpaca wool from a local farm here in Israel that I keep in my studio, and I made it held together with a silk mohair by Isager. I used 2 of the alpaca, which is 50 grams and 100 meters, and less than 1 ball of the Isager silk mohair held together. The silk mohair is 75% kid mohair and 25% silk, 25 grams and 212 meters. So this chunky Benji is made out of these 2. So yeah, I think this is it for the knitting and crochet part of this episode. If you like, you can stay with me to see some behind the scenes of packing your Etsy yarn packs and orders, and enjoy some colorful cotton colors and some sage bloom. And if this was enough for you, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next episode. But if you like, we can enjoy some packing and gardening footage.